Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome to all of our buzzer beaters. Welcome back to At the Buzzer. Last day of the month, September 9th, 2023. No, what am I saying? What did you just say?
2022.
It's been a long day, dude. It has been a long day. Today is September 30th, 2025. Wow, I am living in the past. Maybe I just hit the
We're
time
trading
machine.
futures,
Yeah.
Coach, not pasts.
That was insane. Wow. Did a lot of talking today and a lot of trading. It's been very busy. Wow. Hopefully everyone is here with us in the present. And your calendar says what my calendar says, which is September 30th, 2025. So I'll take a moment to laugh at that for a second. But welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. The goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before. We believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay, the Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully assist you in becoming a more successful trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Let us know how you did on the day, the last day of the month. Shout out to Coach Dakota. He shared his stats on fast markets this morning. An all green month for September. No losing days. I think he started that account on the 4th and all green. But we know sometimes that's not the case. You're going to have up days. You're going to have down days. The XFA that I'm trading has had some up and down days. I'm trading a couple of them. Today was a down day, but I'm still green on the month and going to continue to push forward. But let us know how you did. Were you up on the day, down on the day, anything that you learned from the day? Maybe you stayed flat because it's the end of the month and you wanted to stay out of the mess. But let us know how it goes. Overall, for me, again, on this account, tried to take a long in gold. You may have saw that during the slow markets last night. Trading another account where I was able to get in long gold. Listening to Andre during fast markets, he goes, "Gold is not done." All right. Anytime I hear Andre say that, that means something, Coach Paul. Jump on and get on the ride. Get on the ride. But back and forth day. Norik says 360 on an eval, $400 away from passing. Good job. Don't focus on passing. Just focus on taking the next good trade, and you will get to your target. Brad Sims left my XFA alone after 9:30, up $316. That is a nice winning day there. Robin says very tough, but green. Gold just made my day. Gold probably made a lot of people's days. Hopefully to the green side, if you found a spot to buy it. But gold was a real nice market today. Ches 1491 on the day. Good stuff. All right, let's get into the news. We do also have Nike earnings getting released in just a little bit here. We had some numbers come out. Biggest number was the JOLTS job openings came in at 7.227 million. A forecast was 7.2 million, so pretty much in line with expectations. And then we had a U.S. consumer confidence number come in at 94.2, and the forecast was 96, so a little bit less than expectations. We know that the big news kind of looming right now is whether or not we have this government shutdown. Got about less than 8 hours now for the government to come to an agreement before we do shut down. Again, we shared a video on TopstepTV earlier today, and the last government shutdown was 2018, lasted 35 days. And I had someone share in Discord. They found this on another Discord channel, so I got to give credit to them. Trade Brigade. The last government shutdown, I'm just going to read this out to you guys, which was December 21st, 2018. During the shutdown, the market rallied 10.3%. It was a 34-day shutdown, so I kind of feel like that's just a natural movement, right? It would be different if it was like, oh, we rallied 10% in 2 days of a government shutdown. The week prior to that shutdown, the market was down 7.1%, and the week after up 3.7%. They have on this sheet here, uh, looks like the last 15 or so government shutdowns, the average S&P returns during that time is 0%. So what does that mean for the markets?
Um, Uncertain,
Yep.
like always.
Uncertain as always. So we get a lot of questions, Coach Paul. What does this government shutdown mean for markets? What is going to happen? Average return 0%. So there's been up years, there's been down years, there's been short shutdowns, there's been a 34-day shutdown, which was the last one. Uh, so what it really means, like Coach Paul just said, is uncertainty, and that means we just have to trade the market that's in front of us. Uh, have a game plan. We say it all the time. Coach Paul says it all the time. Ending the segment: plan your trade, trade your plan. Uh, whether the government shuts down or not, that shouldn't change your risk management. That shouldn't change your entry and exit signals on your trades, because we really don't know, right? We really don't know. So we got to trade the market that is in front of us.
When we can accept we don't know, it relieves a lot of burden. Biggest burden is the feeling of having to be right.
Yep.
Um, and like I said, we don't. I don't. I immediately from an economic background, I would think it's going to be bad,
Yeah.
but I can't put my money on that.
Correct.
So we will see. We shall see.
We
I see Nike just came out.
Yeah, they did. So earnings per share 49 cents versus estimates of 70 cents. So not looking great there. Revenue came in at 11.72 billion. Estimate was 11.02 billion. So a little bit better. We'll
Yeah.
get some more data here in a
I
minute
guess I'll
on
have to change the Nike with those sales. They're going to be on sale.
possibly
Make
so.
me jump higher and score more and score more.
Right. Is there a trader with a Nike endorsement deal? Want to be the first. Putting that out there. Uh, all right, let's take a look at the markets that we have here. 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts, and today to the downside, we had crude oil down 1.45%. Lean hogs down 1.77%, and wheat futures, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 2.31%. To the upside, Australian dollar up 0.49%. Gold making new all-time highs last night, up 0.69%. And natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, up 2.11%. To talk about our big four, we already mentioned crude down 1.47%. The S&P up 0.18%. Gold up 0.7%. These things are still moving around a little bit, so these numbers might change. And the NASDAQ pretty much flat, up 0.06% on the day. I have a NASDAQ chart up here, Coach Paul, on a daily. What are we looking at here?
A pretty dull day, but to me, it's just a matter of looking at that. It's compressed to make new all-time highs pretty soon. That's the way I see that. We had the correction coming back up. We're compressed. Um, Onward and upward. If there's, is there anything I'm missing there, Coach?
No, not at all. We had an inside day today. With the uncertainty and stuff like that, not too surprising. Also, last day of the month, and the quarter, so not surprised to see much of a range bound market, but we are still holding this high volume candle that we had September 25th. Still holding the high of that, closing above it. We talked about this being a potential reversal pattern on the daily. Right now, it's just holding. I think we got some news coming out in 8 hours or so to tell us whether or not we do get this shutdown. Does it affect the markets? Who knows? What it will affect is, do we get some of the jobs data that is coming out later in the week that we know have the potential to move the markets around? ADP, I believe we're still going to get the ADP numbers since ADP is a private company. They released their jobs data tomorrow. They were the accurate jobs data when we saw those revisions. So that'll still be interesting, but no, nothing you're missing here, Coach Paul. It looks like we are continuing to go higher, maybe slowly, but 3 up days so far this week. Let's take a look at the 30-minute. Interesting. Uh, what
What's
is
that white
what is
line?
that? What is that? Why does it keep doing this? They cannot continue to get away with this,
Let's see, but
or they can.
1, 2, 3, 5 times?
Yeah. Uh, one, two, three, four, five, 6 times, maybe even.
6 times.
The line we're talking about is the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. It is that white line on my charts. It is a level that I got to thank Coach Paul for pointing out to me. And I had a pretty good day today trading off of and into that 200 moving average. So, um, anything we say here is for educational purposes only. More often than not, when I get to be on air with Hogue, uh, you know, Coach Paul, any of our coaches here, Coach Hoop, I'm taking notes as much as anybody else from Coach Dakota, all of our coaches. And this 200 moving average is at the top of my analysis list, Coach Paul. So thank you for that.
Oh, and
24,
thank you for the volume.
absolutely, absolutely,
Great team.
absolutely. 24, 747 was that 200 is that 200 moving average right now. It was down near 755s. Um, when we were trading during the New York session, and just a really nice bounce off of there. Let's take a look at last night's price action. Pretty quiet overnight session in the Asia session. But when London came in, of course, London has all the fun. They got the first attempt at that 200 moving average, push into it, and a bounce from there. But a range day. And if you listen to the opening call, if you listen to what we said during At the Buzzer yesterday, uh, kind of to be expected with the last day of the month, with some of the news coming out, with some of the uncertainty. And it's exactly what we saw. It was a decent enough range to trade. Uh, for the New York session, we had a 140-ish point range right before this most recent breakout towards the end of the day. But a back and forth day for sure, Coach Paul.
Back and forth, a lot of, like we said, randomness facing this government shutdown, um, which I didn't know, was it 7 years ago already? Wow. Um, but interesting today, as we saw yesterday, we got above the 200 moving average and we rallied, continued a big rally from Sunday night, came back and tested it, which is to be expected from a technical point of view. Couldn't find any sellers um, into the range. And it's funny. Not really unexpected considering these are equities. They like to go up. They're owned. But I don't think my stockbrokers ever called me and said, "Man, I got a great short for you." It's always what can you everything that I could buy, but with that, without breaking, bouncing off that 200, we had short covering into the final hour, but still looks positive to me. And really stay out of trouble in range days like today. If we look at the
Absolutely.
3 minute,
We got a question here from DeCara, and we're going to go down to that 3 minute to answer this question here. Uh, question is, when you say trading off the 200 EMA, so we're talking about an SMA here. It's a simple moving average. I'm going to change this really quick just so you see the difference. See where that exponential goes compared to the simple? Now, maybe I'm overfitting data, but that exponential uh, sits a little bit closer. Like it probably get chopped up a little bit more. And that's just today. It's not always going to be like that, right? We had a perfect test of it here, but we are looking at simple moving averages. And then DeCara, what we're looking for, it's not a blind trade. Coach Paul, you ever look at a 200 a moving average and say, "Oh yeah, that's the moving average. I'm just going to buy it or sell it with no other confluence"?
oh no, it's relative. I'm looking to buy um, at the 200 on it, and we're talking day trade.
Mm-hmm.
with measured risk. So as we've talked before, looking at I look at the half hour,
Yep.
and if we measure a simple moving average first time it hits, well, then gives me a basis of which to take some risk. It isn't just buy it every time and put a stop if it goes under. It, by the way, it never closed under the 200 moving average on the half hour.
But did not. Closed at it.
Um,
Closed at it, but not below it.
so if we look at it, I mean, this is a simple trading plan. If I'm looking to buy it, stocks, it's above the 200 on the daily, it's above it on the half hour, and the first time it hits it, let's mark that up. And this is as simple. If I
Marked right here for the Europe session.
All right. So what's the average true range?
On a 30-minute, 28 points.
28 points. So 50, almost 60 points on it would be my stop on a simple way of doing this. Now, 60 points. It's kind
Sounds
of
like
a
a lot of
big
risk.
stop. Well, it's a
Sounds like a lot of
micro
risk. Yep.
or two micros. I might do that. If it's a if if it's a mini, well, I need a larger account. It's relative, but that's the idea. Then that's a simple, and we've seen this how many times. But
Simple works, Coach Paul, when you let it work.
when you let it,
It doesn't have to be super complicated. I was going to go through how I traded it, but there's a lot more steps here. This is a very simple execution of this trade. Buy it off the 200, risk 2 ATRs because risk management is more important than anything, and let it play out.
and having the patience to let it.
Right.
So we talk about is just if you do this, you have to first of all you have to back test it or forward test it and understand it. It isn't just I don't whatever you're using, you better get an idea of how it works
Yep.
because you have to deal with the emotions and the anxiety of uncertainty. And when it's a losing trade, and I go, oh fuck, I got to change this. I can't have a loser. But if you understand your edge over time, then you're much more comfortable in taking that. And this one is really simple. So and you can develop other ways, but just on a basis of I've noticed this 200 means something. How can I profit from it and develop a an edge that you can execute? I might not be able to execute that. All right, well then I got to think of something else. Oh, what does it look like on the 5 minute when it touches, and then
Yeah.
whatever it is, develop it. But understand, just because it's a 200 moving average doesn't mean put it on blindly.
Agreed. And speaking of that, I can't take this trade. Right, putting this on and leaving it for 12 hours for a day trade, I wouldn't take it. If it's a swing trade, different story. Because I think about it with a different mindset. Before a day trade, where I know I'm going to close these trades by the end of the day, I don't execute it this way. So I do execute on a shorter time frame. Coach Paul just said, take a look at a shorter time frame, and then I'm looking for a reversal pattern. So this morning, we open up the New York session. We have some selling early, but if we take a look at, and I'm going to change this to regular trading hours only. We still know where that 200 moving average is. We have some selling early, Coach Paul,
Hmm.
but knowing where that price was, and it was near 755s, I'm looking to start looking for a reversal pattern. Um, and we have volume. Remember what we did earlier in the week, everyone, where or last week, where we saw the equities push major levels and volume didn't cross it. Same thing here, right? We had price push below this 200 moving average, but look at where volume stopped. So this is telling me that, hey, there's potential that we reverse. Um, and we got a reversal pattern that we look for every day, uh, and it played out. Here is a J trade. This is the highest volume 3-minute candle outside of the close for the
Or the
day. And it
open.
was outside of the close and the open, right?
Yeah,
Actually, it was higher than the open on the 3-minute.
that's even better.
Yeah, right. So higher than the open volume on the 3-minute candle. This for me is where I start looking for longs in the Nasdaq, um, because it happens at a level that I've already defined. So for me, I don't have to. I don't sit and look at the 30-minute chart. Once I know where that demand level is, I know that when we review at the buzzer, we're going to say, hey, the market reacted to a 200 moving average. How did it do it? In this case, there was no selling below it. So this failure of selling, we close above. Now we can see this zone gave us 1, 2, 3 times to buy it off of that area where this J trade never failed. So it was a range bound day, but allowing that volume to define the range in an area where we know it has the potential to. Uh, Says a lot. And if you can be patient, we closed whatever this gap was from. Okay, so
Sunday
this is
night.
Sunday night. So this is Sunday. So this is regular trading hours only. This was Friday. Yeah,
Yeah,
that Sunday. Yeah, that Sunday night gap. That rally overnight. We closed it, and then the market rallied from there. So, a bunch of different ways you can execute it, but defining the level or an area of interest think happens first, and then you decide how you're going to execute that trade. I know for me, I'm going to execute it on a shorter time frame during regular trading hours, just because there's a higher likelihood of quicker follow through, where I might not have to wait on a trade, and that could just be my impatience, but I'll be patient enough to wait for the New York session to trade it. Um,
actually, for equities, I just wait. I'm getting to the point where I'm just waiting for New York Open.
yeah,
I do very little overnight anymore.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, there's so much other stuff that's moving overnight. Gold is moving overnight. Crude oil during Europe, and the equities usually do give us some pretty good opportunity uh, for the New York session. All right. Anything else you got on the Nasdaq, Coach Paul?
No, that's it.
Let's take a quick look at the S&P here on the daily. Uh, I see, there's some infinite fracture in the chat. It sounds like you're new, so thank you for joining us, asking some questions about minimum win rate for the combines and things like that. Make sure you read through the FAQs on the TopStep website. There's a ton of information there. There is no minimum win rate. You just have to hit the profit target in no less than 2 days. There is a consistency target, so you can't make more than 50% of the profit in 2 days. We do not suggest trying to do that. Take your time with these accounts, but make sure you read through everything there, because it has all the rules, and they are pretty simple rules for passing combines and getting paid out. I know other places probably make sense to ask questions because rules seem like they can change all the time. Pretty straightforward, so make sure you read through that. All right, the S&P, Coach Paul, very similar on the daily. We tag that 20 moving average, and we get much higher.
Yeah. TikTok. It's only a matter of time to me
Yeah,
before we make another all-time high. Unless I see some kind of dramatic engulfing candle, this is what we do, looking to buy a dip. So very subdued range. Actually, these are good days for if you're very disciplined. There wasn't much heat on many trades in the S&P today. There wasn't much range. If you
right.
felt a lot of heat, you can go look in that mirror and see what kind of size you're trading.
Yep.
So very subdued, very much like the NASDAQ.
Very much so. What is that white line? What is that white line?
Support.
It's the buy it line when we're above it, and it's the sell it line when we're below it. That is not financial advice. That just might be Jay's trade strategy going forward. Uh, it's probably not going to be that simple, but I mean, look at it, right? A really strong level here. The ES held that line like the ES does, the Nasdaq is going to run that by 40, 50 points sometimes. The ES is, and this is why, right? Look at the difference here, Coach Paul. We have traders that try to trade the Nasdaq with 10-point stops.
Oh,
It's
okay.
almost impossible to get like to. You have to be like daredevil levels of accuracy to trade the Nasdaq with a 10-point stop. Right? You could buy it during the New York session. You could buy at a very reasonable level to take a trade. The Nasdaq is going to run that level by 30 points before it goes in your favor. And if you're trading minis and you're like, "Well, I can't afford a 30-point stop. That's $600." You could either scale down, but even then, it's going to run the level by 30 points in the micros. So if you trade too many micros, that P&L is going to be a lot. When you look at the S&P, it it was a 4-point move below that 200 moving average.
Yeah. And you know, anything you do, the science. Well, there's variation.
Right.
There is, like you said, there is no pinpoint. Some days, 10 points, you might be able to get away with it in the NASDAQ.
Mm.
Maybe, doubtfully, because that's one we haven't mentioned in a while is the average true range. So if you're in the 5 minute, it seems to be one of the most popular time frames, is a 5 minute. So what is the average true range in the NASDAQ in a 5 minute candle?
Let me change these charts to regular trading hours. That's when most of our traders are trading. In the NASDAQ, the average true range on a 5 minute today was 30 points.
Okay. 30 points. And so that means on average, the range is 30 points. If you're having to stop in 10 points, you're probably getting stopped out a lot. Okay, and so now if you are getting stopped out a lot, you have two choices. Be
Yep.
right more or adjust your stop. For the from my experience, it's too tight. I need to adjust. It's the variation or the vibration of this market right now doesn't allow that
Yep.
and adjust. So what do you adjust? You adjust your size. Get a smaller size and a wider stop. If you're getting stopped out a lot, then you probably need to look at that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We seen Dakota do it all month. Green all month, trading micros, small size, wide stops. Let the market work out. And it's going to require a little bit more patience. You might, to see the profits that you're looking for, but there's a higher probability that you see those profits. If we try to rush and say, "Oh, you know what? No, I can trade it with I can trade 15 minis with a 2-point stop." Watch this. Like, inevitably, you're just going to have trades that go against you because, let's look at the smallest. If I look at a 1 second chart, like what time frame would you have to trade for the two ATRs to be small enough to consider okay, right? Even during the day, a 1 second chart, two ATRs is about 5 points
So it's 2.5 every second,
every second.
2.5 to 3 every second. Tick, gone.
Right.
So to understand it, I mean, it's rhythm. It's the rhythm of the market.
Yep.
And by the way, what's the price of the NASDAQ? 24,000 something, almost 25. What is 10? Think of it in percentages.
Right.
I remember when the NASDAQ first started, it was like 2,000.
Yeah, it's true.
If
12
it
times that.
started today, you wouldn't have quarter ticks.
Right.
Matter of fact, if I was the king, I'd get rid of quarter ticks. Why? This is like, why? But hey, who am I? Who am I? But seriously, there's that's how low it was at quarter ticks, and we're
S-
not there anymore.
No,
So start thinking in percentages. I
the
think that
spread is a point sometimes in the Nasdaq, and that's on the
yeah.
low side. It is on the low side. We got a question here from Justin. Do you take the trade after it regains the 200 moving average, or do you take the 200 with stop below the next wick? So I'll tell you exactly how I executed this trade. I waited for this, what we call a J trade, to close, and I was buying at 755s. So uh, the market did reclaim in this case, but my trade at this point, the entry on my trade was not based on that 200 moving average. It was based on this candle right here in the Nasdaq, because that's the candle that my risk is going to go below. So in some cases, we're not going to get this candle. So it could reclaim the 200 moving average. I may not take that trade, but this one specifically showed us a reversal. If we got a reversal candle that was lower than the 200 moving average, I might take it off of that. But that trade entry was based on this, and I did it a couple times. uh, the last trade I took was a long from 754 after we held 50% of this candle, because my risk could go below here. Yes, Justin, I'm just using that 200 moving average for confluence. Coach Paul was saying that he uses it for entries, and I'm using it for watching the market's response to it. Right. And yeah, if you can trade the markets with the one thing I tell my VIPs, Coach Paul, is if you do something different than what we suggest and it works, I can't tell you anything, right?
Yeah,
If you put up numbers doing trading the way you trade, I may not be able to teach somebody to do it that way. And part of what I'm saying might be because I struggled trying to trade it that way, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work. So if it works for you and the numbers work, continue to do what you're doing. But if you're struggling with trying to trade with tight stops, that suggestion is going to be scale down and widen your stops out.
and also when you do that, you're gonna be trading a lot more. And when you're trading more, you have two big worries. One of the things you don't really feel this is brokerage. It adds up.
Yep.
Number two is slippage. You don't see it, but and sometimes you don't feel it, but it's there because you don't get into a trade, even if it's a flat price trade, you're giving up some edge. You really are. Unless how many times have you bought the low in your life trading? I've been around a long time. I think it's happened less than two handfuls, and most of the time it doesn't hold. But every time you're in, and then you got to get out. So there is at any point there's a lot of slippage. That's why market makers do a lot of volume. They get a big breaks from the exchange. They get first. They get filled first. You're second. Also, they get big breaks on brokerage. So remember, the more you're trading, the harder it's going to be to get over the hump. And it just happens that way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, let's take a look at gold here. Unless there's anything else on the equities, Coach Paul.
No, that's it.
Take a look at gold. Made a new all-time high. Excuse me. 38.9220 new all-time high in gold. Stopped 8 ticks below 3,900. What do we say about this one, Coach Paul?
This, this, when do we hit in 4,000?
We are just under 3% off of 4,000 in gold. It could be tonight. The government could shut down. We're at 5,000. Who knows? this thing is not stopping. I have to quote my guy Andre McHugh. I said it during the daytime show today in the chat. One of my favorite quotes on the show is "Gold not done." Gold not done. And Andre said it at least 10 times in 20 minutes. And um, I'm not joking when I say this, chat. I made $1,000 in an XFA late to the move because I heard Andre say gold not done. So if you're watching Top Step TV, you still got to have a process to trade it, right? I'm not just hearing him say that and just getting him blind long because I do need a spot to limit risk. But hearing that information, Coach Paul, it's like what you would say when you're trading in the pit. When you could hear audible noise in a pit, you know something's happening over. And then
It, well,
you go and look to say, hey, is there an opportunity for me to make some money over here? The same thing. That is a pattern that I look for. If Andre's talking about, oh, crude selling off down $2, I'm looking for a trade. And today he helped me out. So thank you, Andre. I got to send him a bottle or something.
something good.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to spend the whole $1,000, but but um, really good information there. On the daily, we came down. We tagged 50% of yesterday's range. This happened in the overnight session where there was a pretty aggressive sell-off on that rejection of 3,900. But we tagged what was the prior all-time high from last week's high, 38.24, and found some buyers. Just a really cool push there in gold after tagging that last week's high. Anything else you got on the daily, Coach Paul?
No, nothing else to say. Let's see how this unraveled.
So yesterday, the low of the day yesterday was pretty much right off that 200 moving average. We talked about this one during at the buzzer yesterday, but that 38.25-24 level, I'll mark that one out here. That was last week's high. Here is last night's open. And then the Shanghai open. And early on, they were just buying it, Coach Paul.
Yeah, but the momentum from yesterday. If you were short, where are you going? Who's giving it to you? And a nice rally into London. Did we get a 2-1 from the Asian Open?
Let's take a look here. We got close. We didn't get a 2-1. 1.79, 1.8 to 1. Call that close enough. And that's on the 30-minute if you took that.
On the 30-minute, yeah. So, but what a break.
Yep.
Did we get a J trade or exhausted buying?
At the highs, we did not. At the highs, we did not. Was anybody in the chat? I'm just curious. Was anybody in the chat looking at the order book when we got up to 3,900s in gold? The reason I ask is because it looks like there was a monster up there. It looks like Bigfoot was at 3,900, Coach Paul, and everyone just ran away from him.
Yep. 3,900 flat price. How many times?
Yeah.
To me, it almost looks like they couldn't find follow through buying, so they stopped buying. Or major levels, and you're very good at, so I'm going to let you go on why major levels.
Where and Coach Paul, correct me if I'm wrong on this, right? Because for me, I wouldn't say assumption, but you see it time and time again. But if I had a ton of business to fill, I'm going to try to do it at whole number levels because I know that that's when these markets have the most eyes. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Or I think that those major levels, when people are taking profit, they think of major levels with zeros, and that really, when we were putting decks together of orders, that it would stand out. So in this case, you literally get, when I talk on the trading floor, you get at a certain price, this thick of orders
Yeah.
when every other price is about that size. And it gets to it at even levels, all-time high levels that are even. So a lot of, I think it's more, there's a lot of resting orders from many places. So it collects into a big order. Like, I liked myself, I would, if I'm looking for a number like that,
Hmm.
I'm putting it 10 ticks below.
Oh, yes, 100%. That's such a great point. That's
Just
such a great
never, I
point.
would never,
At the whole
because if it
number.
fills there, it's basically going to go through.
Right.
And so, especially at all-time highs, I mean, you really, I don't, I penny wise and pound foolish comes to mind. Like, but if I've had this thing and I've got a couple $100 into it, and I'm going to say, well, you have to fill me at this price. I don't think the market gives a damn. But when you think in going back to thinking in percentages, like, okay, I call it give the rat the cheese. I mean, you can't catch the rat without the cheese. Here, it didn't cost me much. Here, 5, 6, 7 ticks.
Yep.
I'd rather get out than rely on selling that number. So I think it adds up there. A lot of public put orders at that price.
Yeah. Could you imagine? You got long from 36.84. You set your exit at 3,900. So, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the all-time high. We're gonna tag that major level, and I'm gonna go to sleep.
Oh my
Hopefully, you
god,
had a
that's
stop
probably
on.
what happened.
Hope it legitimately would have happened in this case, right? We stopped at 38.99.20. Um, if this is not, and are we just gonna run that level sometimes? Absolutely. But if this is not a reason to to not set your orders at major levels, I've had this happen to me on trades, and it's why I won't do it. Um, if I'm setting a profit target, I'm usually already if I'm setting a profit target and just leaving the trade alone, I'm going to sleep. I'm usually already assuming some profits on the trade and I'm down to a runner. It's a swing trade, or I'm awake to actively monitor the trade because I've had this exact trade happen to me where I thought it was going to hit the major level and it doesn't. And then it turns around and you're like, okay, yeah, it'll go back up there. And then all of a sudden you're back at your entry and you're like, well, now this sucks because I had all that profit before. And then you're down because now you're frozen in time. And I'm only speaking from experience. You're frozen because you're like, I was 8 ticks away and now I'm 10 points down on this trade. How the hell did this just happen? Maybe I just buy it again because it'll get back up there eventually, right? And it doesn't because all of the people, Coach Paul, who had that same sentiment that we should trade 3,900s, when we don't get there, they're going to be the ones to sell.
When that's what happened, look at the
They're going to be the
sorry
ones
about
to sell.
that. That's exact. Now, one other thing when I look at it is time. We don't talk about we talk a lot about price, and some people don't even care about time.
Mhm.
But I know one fund I used to work with, they only looked at time
Yep.
because over time, the strong hands win. But in this case, look, we get up there. Let's say you're long and you're waiting for that 3,900. And how many times we're within a dollar? And it
Right.
stays there for how long?
It sat there for, we tested it for an hour and 45 minutes before it just said, okay, there's no one to buy it.
Yeah.
And then
So
then the London session opened.
they would need you need some new buyers. And when you think about it, and maybe I have a flair for the obvious, but you would literally at the all-time highs, you need new buyers. And so over time, you're not finding it. So now we're going sideways. It's almost like, you buy it. No, you buy it. I can't find new buyers because everyone's long, or there's too many, there's too much ownership.
Right.
And that to me looks like there was an algorithm that, Jim Simons found these things, and that's why he became such a huge winner. I don't know what it is, but if you have the right computer power and you know how to do it, there is probably an average time right there where if it doesn't go through, go hit them with a big order. It's almost like, you know, scarecrow, like, yeah. Someone offered, like some entity could have offered 100
Yep.
without even intent of selling it, just to see the reaction.
Right.
So even just putting it in the queue, sell 100,
It looks like
sell
they said sell
200.
1,000 up there the way this market ran away from it.
Yeah, very wow. On big time frames too. This isn't just the or it was a it was a big that was all-time high at a major level. So
Yep.
interesting, great chart.
And if you want a visual representation of what this looked like on the trading floor, watch the ending scene of Trading Places.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened. Uh, exactly what happened. But nice recovery. We sold off pretty much through the London session, uh, and we found that last week's high and turned around. We could be trading 3900s tonight in slow markets. We're less than a half a
Yep.
percent away. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Oh, yeah, I have to go back and test it.
Yep. Yeah, they're not going to leave that there. I wouldn't assume they're going to leave it there. They can do whatever they want. But
I I won't even say what I think gold's going to.
agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
and that's what I think. I should have bought more gold jewelry, but there is there's a reason it's this happening. Um, and I would ask now, would you rather get paid in gold or dollars? Because if we look this on a relative basis, if it's Chinese renminbi, this might not be so dramatic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of expectations, a lot of a price predictions of much higher in gold. And with all the investment that we're hearing coming into it, again, this looks like a move that could just be getting started, which is crazy to say. But this next leg here seems like it is just getting started after that 130-day consolidation we saw. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
gold is up
So,
a lot.
and once again, that we've thrown such bullishness out. It could happen. I don't know. In the present, I'm very bullish. But if I see it all of a sudden see some kind of engulfing candle with two times the average true range, all right, I got new information.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Billy says, if that's a range, do you buy the second attempt, third attempt? If I am not able to get a long in gold below 3900s, like in this general range right here, this might be a good spot for to go for a test. If I'm looking at this for tonight, right? And God First Financial asked, how do you decide to draw the fibs? For me, it is a little bit of discretion, but most of that discretion is based on high volume. So in this case, we had this highest volume 30-minute candle of the day. This was right off that Jolts number. You notice how 50% of that holds. So that's why I anchor off these 50%, off these high volumes. And we're holding that high. So if I'm able to get a long somewhere off of this high with reasonable risk, uh, into 3900s, it's kind of, even if we go to 50%, it's about a 1-to-1 trade. Um, if I'm trading gold tonight and we're at 39.90 and I'm not already in a position, I'm probably not going to be the first one to take it. Uh, because there's we see the reaction last time. Do I expect it to happen again? Probably not. But if we're that high up and I'm not already in, then somebody else is going to have to prove to me that we can trade through it. If they can't prove it, I don't want to try it. But it really depends. It really depends. Anything else you got on on gold, Coach Paul?
That's it.
I am not on with Dakota tonight for slow markets. Baron, the new gold trader, the gold baron, is on with him. So I'm sure they're going to be looking at it. I'm sure they're going to be looking at it. All right. And let's take a look at crude. What are we looking at in crude oil, Coach Paul?
We're at the bottom of the channel. Looking for now what goes down goes back up to the top of the channel until it doesn't. And compressed. I mean, 1, 2, maybe tomorrow another down day, so we turn around and go back up. Nothing much to be said here. Now look at that 50-day and the 200 and the 20. Well, a little closer to being all together.
50 tick range between those three moving averages. And the 20 and the 200 are right on top of each other.
Like, I know I'm done if I'm sitting in a bed and I'm in a hospital and I see these my EKG kind of compressed like this. I'm done. And kind of crude is done, and then maybe resurrection. But today, after yesterday's big break, found a little bit of, it's just slowed down. Interesting, though, is the volume was higher, but the range was smaller. So probably a good place to me in this to buy it. But let's look at the 30-day. 30-minute.
Yep. What's up, Chauncey in the chat? 30-minute was a nice trade. I don't regret missing trades much, but I talked about this short so much. This should have been a swing trade, in my opinion. I talked about it so damn much.
Like it's 2023.
Right. Yeah, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. What a move in crude oil. And last night, no different. We set the high. I think I'm losing some of the. Okay, there we go.
There it is. Took a little time, but that's the way crude is right now.
Yeah, but if we look at the London session, that is when they get some of these markets moving, especially crude oil. Coach Paul, you've said time and time again how crude is a market that is very important to London in Europe and how it trades. And here's the London session open. If we look at that as the start of the day, which I've been doing a lot recently in crude, I keep having these times where I'm awake at this time. It is 3 a.m. for me. I don't go straight to the charts, but if I
Yeah,
do,
you do.
if I get an alert, and what's crazy is I just leave my PC on, and I have these volume alerts that go off in Quant Tower, and sometimes I'll wake up 3 a.m., 3:30, and I'll hear the volume alerts going off. I'm like, damn, I have to go check what that is, and more often than not, it's crude. Some really big or a nice sell this morning if we look at the London session, and I kind of like that idea. But just going forward in crude, can we get some moves during Asia? We could, but just it's lower probability. So do I want to trade chop when I know that there's a higher probability time frame that's going to give me better trades? It's like we talked about waiting for the equity open, Coach Paul, to trade the equities.
Yeah. And if we had Brent crude, you'd see it'd be even more dramatic.
Mm.
But yeah, nice. And once again, we're talking about flow versus just price, because I suffered it just broke at $2. I can't sell it. Well, it doesn't matter what I can't sell because of price. What is the market doing? What are all the people involved? What's happening? And so you remove yourself where you become an observer. And when you do that, and we're like, wow, using that volume analysis right there. Oh, if I just don't look at the price, what's the action telling me?
They're selling it.
It's being sold. Go with the flow.
It was being sold until whatever this was, which came 3 minutes before 8 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody got some news early. I didn't see a headline, but some heavy volume in a 3 minute candle that was 6,700 contracts when the average is 550. And one of the things, Coach Paul, I think we like to talk about is that volume sustainable? That volume came out of nowhere, right? In 6 minutes, we were talking about 10,000 contracts, which is 10 times the average, and then it stopped. Hogue and I looked at this during the opening call this morning, and the delta, which is the difference between market order buys and sells, was pretty much flat. It was negative 250. OPEC stuff. There you go, JD. Thank you. So there was an OPEC headline that came out, and that just stopped the selling for the rest of the day. A huge range to trade, where you could have, maybe you buy it down here. It is near that $62 level, and then selling it up at the highs, because that is I would pay attention to this range. Tomorrow we have inventories coming out. This range in crude oil, I'm going to extend it a little bit because you can see there's some follow through volume on that 3 minute. 62 at the low. I mean, do we need this? 62 at the low, 63 at the high. Pay attention to the market's response to those extremes.
You can almost go down to the 30-second chart then.
Oh yeah, you could.
Thinking about that, maybe it is the place to be in crude. Oh no. That was one order.
Yeah, they just in 30 seconds, 4,100 contracts. Interesting range to look at there, though. All right. Anything else you got on crude, Coach Paul, or any other markets you want to discuss?
With that said, let's look at Bitcoin because we looked at it yesterday and see if we had to follow through buying.
Bitcoin on a daily.
Yeah, we held that rally. It almost looks like crude, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yep, in this little range here.
Yeah.
Like crude mixed with gold.
Yeah, not much. I hadn't looked at it, and we didn't have much of a range after yesterday's, but we're holding the weekly gap. So let's keep an eye on that Sunday night gap. We extended over yesterday's range, but we had a very small range. I think that's kind of bullish.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Not. Boy, balance.
Yep.
Is Bitcoin becoming the new bonds?
Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it sure is taking the volatility out.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Sadly.
Right. Yeah, we want volatility somewhere. Right. Where are 50% sell-offs in this market? Right. All the degens are going to need to find something else to trade. I guess they weren't really trading Bitcoin for a while. There's a bunch of other meme coins and stuff.
Oh, there's plenty of meme coins that'll bring you volatility.
Yep. Don't know if I want that type of volatility, but
yeah, like the Roach Motel. Easy to get in.
Until you realize you are the market.
Yeah.
Got another one. All right. Anything else you want to cover, Coach Paul? We got one more question here from DeCara. After the Fed's report, do you think the combo of uncertainty in politics will cause other central banks to continue to invest and retail to lose faith in the Fed and go more into gold?
I think that's already happening, and I think it's coordinated um, by the BRICS. After we saw the spectacle in China, with China, Russia, and India holding hands, gold has just been it's just been going and going. So I don't see this changing unless peace breaks out between BRICS and the West. Oh, I mean, that could happen, but it seems to that's where central bank buying is. They're not buying bonds, they're not buying assets, they're buying gold, platinum, metals, and the Chinese have done that throughout their culture. I mean, it's not something new, it's something that makes sense to them. I used to deal with wealthy Chinese before it was many decades ago, and they would, it's a very common thing. If you had money in China, you take 20% of it, put it into gold or metals, because they don't trust paper currencies like we do. And it seems to me there's a coordinated effort to put some pressure on. They used to buy bonds. I don't know, not buying. I don't think the demand is there. They're not doing it. They're not buying soybeans. So a grander vision of geopolitical, that seems to be the case. So that's why I don't see this changing.
Go. Can we get much higher? Can we get much higher? We will see tonight, I'm sure. Potential government shutdown coming in just about 7 hours, just under 7 hours. I'm going to be tuned in to slow markets tonight, watching Dakota and Barron. We got some interesting markets ahead for us. Coach Paul, anything you got before we go?
Yeah, once again, plan your trade your plan, become a good money manager. If you want to get funded, which really, that's why we're here. You need to show you can handle risk and handle money. So get that foremost. Don't worry so much about it having to be right, trade right. And that's it.
There you go. Have a plan, execute your plan, manage your risk, and really execute your plan. There are so many times where, even in my own trading, I realized that what I executed was not a plan. It was a it was more so frustration trade from not executing my plan. So anytime your trade sets up uh, and you're at your screens, you got to take it. Right now, you could adjust what the risk is on any given trade, but having that faith in your plan and executing when the market presents it uh, makes you a better trader in the long haul. So, Coach Robert is doing a class right now in Discord. He's going to go for a full hour because Coach Hoop has some business to take care of. So, no Coach Hoop class tonight. Coach Robert is live right now in Discord going for about an hour. Then we have Coach Rain, Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. And of course, Dakota with Barron tonight for slow markets, 7:30 Central. Aaron with the London Open at 1:30 a.m. Central Time, and then Deanna for the Euro trade tomorrow morning. We'll be back for the opening call. We got some economic data to talk about tomorrow morning, so make sure you tune into the opening call. And if you haven't done so already here, hit that like button. We appreciate you all for joining us every day. Bruno, thank you as always for helping us run this session. And chat, thank you for asking the questions because we can't run the show without you. Trade well, manage your risk.
All right. Yeah. Bye.